So for this session, we will now look into the auditing in a CIS environment. So first, of course, we need to define IT environment. So what is a CIS environment or your IT environment? So the IT environment. So IT environment refers to the IT applications and supporting IT infrastructure, as well as the IT processes and personnel involved in those processes that an entity uses to support business operations to achieve their strategies. So therefore, whenever we talk about IT environment, it is composed of three main items. So the IT infrastructure, the IT application, and the IT processes. So first, we look into the IT application. So the IT application serves as the foundation of the IT environment. It includes all the hardware, software, networks, and facilities that are necessary to perform the IT services. Therefore, it is composed of the following: network, operating systems, and then databases and their related hardware and software. So whenever we talk about IT infrastructure later, it is composed of those items: network, OS, database, hardware, and software. Next, we have your IT application. So your IT application is a program or a set of programs that are used in the initiation, processing, recording, and reporting of the information. So normally, these are your data warehouse and your report writers. And then we have now your IT processes. These are your entities processes to manage and access the IT environment, manage program changes and changes to IT environment, and manage IT operations. Therefore, normally, whenever we talk about IT environment, it encompasses your IT infrastructure, and then we also have IT applications, and then we have IT processes. So together with your IT infrastructures and IT processes, IT applications, these are encompassed in your IT environment. Normally, whenever we talk about IT environment, this is also called as your EDP environment or your electronic data processing environment. Electronic data processing environment, or sometimes CIS environment. So your CIS environment is your computer information systems environment. So IT environment is also known as EDP or CIS. So whenever we talk about IT, we have infrastructure, we have application, we have processes, and this is connected to the different users. So it could be customers, vendors, your partners, etc. So let's first look into your IT infrastructure. We said a while back, your IT infrastructure is composed of three main items. We have your database system, your operating system, and your networks. So first, database system. A database system is an organized data collection where you store your data and you access your data. Next, we have your operating system. It is a software that controls the computer hardware and supports its basic functions. And we also have your network. Your network is it comprises of two or more computers that link to facilitate sharing of computer devices, software, files, voice, and video transmissions. And whenever we talk about your software, whenever we talk about your networks, we have different types of networks. So we have your LAN, WAN, NAN, and internet. So LAN is local area network. So it is a communication that allows resources, data, and program sharing within a limited geographical area. So for example, within your house, you can connect different computer systems, then that is considered LAN. How about WAN? Computer networks that span over a large geographical area. So let's say it connects the whole Benguet, it's one. But if it's entire country, it's national area network or none. But if it's globe, then we call it your internet. And normally, whenever we talk about network, terms, we have your distributed data processing and your electronic data interchange, or distributed data processing, electronic data interchange. Those are sometimes used in your network related terminologies. So EDP, EDI, and then DDP. So next, let's look into the two components of your computer. So IT infrastructure, of course, uses a computer. So what is a computer? A computer is a programmable electronic device that can store, retrieve, and process data. So a computer has hardware and software. So whenever we talk about hardware, these are physical devices or equipment used to accomplish data processing functions. And those computer hardware devices include your CPU, your input devices, your output devices, and your data storage. First, your CPU. So CPU, normally known as the brain of the computer, it is the principal hardware component which now processes the programs of instructions. And CPU is composed of the following units. First, you have your control unit. Your control unit is the interpreter of program codes. Your storage unit is for their data retention, and we also have your arithmetic and logic unit, which performs arithmetic and logic functions. So your control unit, storage unit, and your ALU composes your CPU. Next, we have your input devices. So your input devices serves as an entry channel to transmit data to the CPU for processing. So the normal input devices that we know is your mouse and your keyboard. So these are input devices. So after your input devices, we have your output devices. So these are devices that translate process data into forms understandable by users. So example are your monitors, printers. These are your common output devices. Also, we have your computer output microfilm, or your COM. Those are considered output devices. Next, we have your data storage. This component serves as the warehouse. Normally, this is known as your hard disk. This is your hard disk. That's your hardware. Now for software. So software is your components or set of instructions or programs that direct, control, and coordinates the operation of the hardware. So we have different types of computer software. We have your system software, application software, database management system. We have source, object program, compiler, virtual memory, interpreter, etc. We start first with your system software. So your system software is composed of the following: your operating system, your OS, your user system or user program, utility program, and then your communication software. So the operating system controls the functioning of the CPU and other peripheral equipment. Normally, you know this OS as either Windows, um, we also have Mac, we have Linux. I don't know if ever Linux is still applicable up to this date. Also, we have your utility or user program. It performs commonly required process such as sorting and your merging. So normally this handle common file data manipulation and the common housekeeping tasks or the normal utilities. Kaya siya tinatawag din na housekeeping task. You also have your communication software. So it controls and supports transmission between your computers, monitors, and accesses various database. So those are your system software. Aside from your system software, we also have your application software. These are programs designed for specific uses, or desired processing data such as payroll, word processing, graphics, database system, and your accounting software. So normally, you already know this different application software, or also known as apps, different apps. So it can be your Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, whatever apps or softwares installed over your computer is known as application software. So aside from those two software, we have other types of software such as your database management system software or your DBMS. Your DBMS is a software package for the purpose of creating, accessing, maintaining a database. So these are your DBMS. So the main database that is used is still your Microsoft database. So we still make use of that database management system. Aside from that, we have other software. We have your source program. What is a source program? That is a program written in language from which statements are translated into a machine language. So normal language to machine language, we call that source program. Also, we have your object program. This converted source program that was changed using a compiler to create a set of machine readable instructions. So from source program, you now use a compiler to make it into a machine readable instruction. Also, we have now your compiler. A compiler produces a machine language object program from a source program language. So again, from a source program, it will become an object program, and what is used to shift that source program to object program, it is known as compiler. Also, we have your interpreter. It converts source code to object code each time it is executed. Lastly, we have your virtual memory or storage. It is a secondary memory that is used as an extension of the primary memory, thus giving an appearance of larger, virtually unlimited internal memory types of computers. Okay, so normally, you know this one as your Google Drive, the cloud, iCloud, etc. So those are virtual memory. Now, since we're talking about computers, let's look into the type of computers. So computers can be supercomputers, mainframe computers, mini computers, microcomputers, and your personal digital assistants. So first, supercomputers. These are extremely powerful, high-speed computers for extremely high volume and or complex processing needs. We also have mainframe computers. It's only large and powerful, not extremely powerful. We also have mini computers. It is large and powerful, but not as large or powerful as mainframe. So, extremely powerful, powerful, not as powerful. So, pagka extremely powerful supercomputer, powerful mainframe, not as powerful mini computers. And also have microcomputers. These are small computers such as PCs and laptops. And then we have personal digital assistants, now known as your mobile or handheld computers, such as your iPad, your tablets, etc. So since we're talking still into your computers, what's the difference of a computer versus computer systems? So computer and computer systems are often used interchangeably in your IT environment or CIS environment. So computer system refers to the configuration of hardware and software that is intended for a specific purpose. So that's the difference of a computer and a computer system. And normally, for computer system, we call this one as either management reporting system or your transaction processing system. If you still remember, a computer system can be a management reporting system or a transaction processing system. So your management reporting system, you know this one as your DSS or decision support system. We have your management information system. We have also your expert system. Those are your management reporting system. Also your transaction processing system. These are for daily processing of transaction. So therefore, whenever we talk about your computers, computers mainly are your programmable electronic device. But system talks about your configuration now of your hardware or software for a specific purpose. And what purpose? It's either management reporting system or a transaction processing system. So now let's look into your IT controls. So for IT controls, First, we have your IT environment, which is composed of IT infrastructure, your IT application, and your IT processes. You already know what is your IT infrastructure. Your IT infrastructure generally is composed of your different database system, operating system, your network, and your computer. We already discussed that earlier. Also, we have discussed already an IT application. And we said an IT application is your different programs designed for a specific end users. And then lastly, we also talk about your IT processes. So these processes, the entities processes to manage the access IT environment and your IT operations. Now let's look into your IT controls. So based on your IT environment, there is an inherent IT risk. So what are these IT risks? These IT risks are the risks arising from the use of your information technology, which refers to the susceptibility of information processing controls to be ineffective on the design or operation, and now creates a risk on the integrity of your information. So whenever we talk about integrity of information for IT, that is your completeness, accuracy, and validity of transactions. So therefore, because of your IT environment, it creates now your IT risk. So since there's an IT risk, we need to place an internal control over that IT risk. And that IT risk um, or the internal control over that IT risk is known as IT controls. And your IT controls consists of the following. First, you have your entity level IT controls. Then we have your general IT controls and then application controls. Again, there is your IT environment. And your IT environment, as a rule, has an inherent risk. We call that inherent risk as your IT risk. So to lessen that IT risk, we place an internal control. And what do we call that internal control? We call it as your IT controls. These IT controls is divided into different items. We have your entity level controls, we have your general controls, and then we have your application controls. And since we're talking about your controls, therefore, for audit in NCIS environment, our main issue is to test this control. But how do we test a control without knowing it first? Therefore, as we go through our discussion, we will first discuss the different IT controls. Since we already discussed the IT environment, and we learned that in an IT environment, there is an inherent risk known as IT risk. We look now into the different IT controls that will be in place. And then we will test those controls. So our main audit procedure here is to test the IT controls. So let's look now into the different IT controls. First, as to your entity level IT controls. So entity level IT controls. The entity level IT controls of an organization are embedded in its control environment. These are designed to define the strategic direction and establish an organizational framework for IT activity, including strategies and plans, segregation of incompatible duties, policies and procedures, quality assurance, risk assessment activities, training, internal auditing, and monitoring. So normally, therefore, this particular entity level ID controls is the tone at the top. So these are known as IT organizational control. We said it is the tone at the top because, again, it pertains to the whole environment. Therefore, if our problem is entity environment, if our problem is the entity environment, which is known as the IT environment, the IT control in place there is your entity level control. Entity level control. And it sets the overall tone at the top. And what are the components of the tone at the top? We have your strategies, segregation of duties, policies and procedures, risk assessment, training, etc. So once we know these IT controls, which we said is depending on what is to be controlled here. What is to be controlled is the IT environment. So we place entity level control. And what are your IT uh, or IT activities For these controls, we have your strategies and plans, segregation, training, internal audit, and monitoring, etc. Next, we have your general IT control. So, what is addressed in a general IT control? So, these general controls controls over IT processes. So, a while back, IT environment, the control in place is the entity level IT control. Now we are talking about IT processes. For IT processes, the control is general IT control. So again, general IT control controls over the IT processes that support the continuous and proper operation of the IT environment, including the continued effective functioning of information processing controls and integrity of information. So this includes the following. First, we have your access controls. And what are your access controls? These access controls are, we have here your authentication. So in your authentication, you control whoever uses or try to access the IT application. Next, we have your authorization. So this controls who is allowed to access the information. So what's the difference between authentication and authorization? In your authentication, you control whoever access the IT application. In authorization, you control the access over each information. So application for authentication, the main application itself, while for authorization, what is controlled here is the access to the information. Next, we have your provisioning. So it controls who are the new users, what are the privileges of the users, you modify existing users, etc. How about the provisioning? For the provisioning, you remove users. If provisioning, you include users or change their access. In the provisioning, you remove the users. Also, we have your privilege access. For privilege access, this is about your admin access. Actually, we are looking here about your powerful access over the whole system. So normally, who has the powerful access? It is the admin. Also, we have your user access reviews. This is to control or evaluate the access over the ongoing authorization. So you control the access over the information, that is your user access reviews. We have also security configuration. So in your security configuration, what happens here is we look into key configuration settings that help restrict the access over the environment. Normally, this is known as your different security key, or you have now a third party to key in the security for the access of your data. Furthermore, we have physical access. So any access control for the physical access of the hardware or the data center, we call that physical access. So all of this talks about your access control over your IT processes. Next, we have your IT operations control. For your IT operation controls, we have your job scheduling, job monitoring, backup and recovery, and intrusion detection. So what is job scheduling? For job scheduling, this is the access as to your jobs or programs. So you schedule your different jobs or program as to your operations. Job monitoring, this controls the monitoring of financial reporting jobs or your programs. We have your backup and recovery, of course, controls to ensure any backup of financial reporting data, anything that you need to back up or recover. Also, we have your intrusion detection control. This controls the vulnerabilities or intrusions over your IT environment, vulnerabilities. Next, we have control over IT changes. So for control over IT changes, you have your change management process, segregation of duties over change migration, systems development or acquisition or implementation, and data conversion. Just take note, in your audit of IT environment, we look into your IT environment. there's an IT risk, we place now a control. You just determine what type of control is placed. In IT environment, what is placed? Entity level IT controls. And what are those? We have already discussed earlier. Strategies, segregation, policies, quality assurance, risk assessment, internal audit, monitoring, what else? Training. So those are entity level IT control. Now for IT processes, we have your general IT control, which is composed of access control, IT operations control, and controls over IT changes. Next, we look into your um, IT application controls. IT application controls. So for IT application controls, of course, what is controlled here now is your different IT applications. Okay. So IT environment, you have learned before, is composed of three items, right? What are those again? IT infrastructure, IT processes, and then we have your IT applications. The control for IT environment is known as your entity level IT controls. The control over your IT processes is your general IT controls. How about for IT applications? We call that IT application control. Sir, how about the control for IT infrastructure? Do you have any control for operating system, your database, and your network? Generally, that is already provided under entity level IT controls. So therefore, each particular item of IT environment has a particular control, and you have already discussed some of it. So we are now discussing the last type of control placed under your IT environment, particularly for your IT applications. And we call that IT application controls. So these controls are found within different software programs that the company uses in its transaction cycles to prevent or detect unauthorized erroneous transactions. Together with other controls, these controls support the proper authorization, completeness, accuracy, validity of input, processing, and output transactions. And these IT application controls include controls over input and controls over processing. So why do we need control over input and control over processing? So first, control over input is designed to provide reasonable assurance that transactions are properly authorized before being processed by the computer. Again, what is controlled here is the input. So before it is inputted, we determine that the transaction is properly authorized. Next, that the transactions are accurately converted into machine readable form and recorded in the computer data files. So normally, in your controls over input, in your accurately converted into machine readable form, we have your validity test, your completeness check, etc. Next, transactions are not lost, added, duplicated, or improperly changed. So one normally controls over input that we know in your not lost, added, duplicated, or improperly uh, change is your completeness test. Next, we have incorrect transactions are rejected, corrected, if necessary, resubmitted on a timely basis. If you still remember, we have your different input controls such as your field check, logic test, menu-driven inputs. So these are different controls over input. So whenever we talk about controls over input, we have different we have different input controls. We call this one input controls. The main input controls that you have learned before in your IT is your limit test, your completeness test, particularly for example, field check, this one, for sure you still remember this one. Field size check. So these are different controls over inputs. So those are input controls. And why do we need input controls? Because we want that there is a proper authorization, completeness, accuracy, and validity of your input, processing, and output. So we place input controls for this. items. So to provide reasonable assurance on these items. Now, how about processing controls? Your processing controls are is designed to provide assurance that transactions are processed accurately, transactions are not lost, added, excluded, or improperly changed, and then processing errors are identified. That the results of processing are complete, are accurate, and output is distributed to authorized personnel only. So those are some reasons why we need controls over processing. How about controls over output? Your controls over output, of course, is designed that the output is proper. So we have here, nasabi na rin naman dito, so that the control over output is provided on a reasonable assurance that outputs are distributed and outputs are accurate and complete. Now, having known the different IT controls and having known the whole IT environment, so there's an IT environment. Based on IT environment, we have your RIS. So we have your RAIT. So these are arrays. These are your RIS arising from the use of your IT. RIS arising from your IT. And based on those RIS, we place your different controls. Entity level, we have your general control, and then we have your IT application controls. Now, let's look into our audit procedures to test those risks. So, we have here identifying and assessing risks dapat to. Assessing risks. So, the auditor shall perform risk assessment procedures to obtain understanding over the entity, applicable financial reporting framework, and the entity's system of internal control. First, as to understanding the entity. So how can we understand the entity in your audit in your CIS environment? So the auditor gathers information about the nature and characteristics of the IT applications used and the supporting IT infrastructure and IT processes. In short, whenever we try to understand the entity and the entity uses IT environment, you need to understand the whole IT environment. And what is that IT environment? It is composed of your IT infrastructure, IT processes, and IT applications. So you need to understand the whole IT environment. And we keep on emphasizing that the IT environment is composed of your infrastructure, application, and your processes. And after we understand the whole IT environment, we need to determine the relevant IT applications. So what is the relevant IT applications? These IT applications are subject to risks arising from the use of IT. So to determine that, you include automated controls that the management is relying on. So based on the IT applications, what has automated controls? Include controls that address risks on substantive alone, do not provide sufficient, appropriate, and audit evidence procedures. Maintain the integrity of information stored and processed, and produce system-generated reports that entity uses in a control. Therefore, whenever we look into or testing the control based on the different trees, we look into these controls. So what controls are we focusing on? So those automated controls, controls that addresses the risk on the substantive alone, controls that maintain the integrity of information, and controls that produces reports. Therefore, normally we look into IT application controls. So normally what we test is your IT application control. That's why once you understand the IT environment, what we test are the relevant IT applications. And what are these relevant IT applications? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, after we identify those controls, we also identify the risks arising on the use of IT. So the auditor may consider the nature identified based on the IT application or other aspects of the IT environment and reasons for it being subject to risks. And then after that, we now identify the general IT controls. So your general IT controls, you already know that they are designed to address the RAITs, or your risks arising from your use of IT. So with this, the auditor used the understanding of the IT applications and other aspects of the IT environment to properly identify the related general IT controls. So, due to the complexities of an IT environment, the auditor must determine whether to use the work of auditor's expert in the field of IT. Why? Because, of course, it is not considered that the auditor is knowledgeable in auditing a CIS environment or an IT environment. Therefore, we must use an expert. So, in using an expert, generally, what do we look at? First, of course, we evaluate whether the IT is competent, capable, and objective. That's the first requirement, that it is really competent. Next, you must have an understanding of the field of expertise over the IT, and also agree with the expert relating to the nature and scope, the roles and responsibilities, the timing and extent of the procedures, so that we can rely particularly on the test on your general IT controls. So generally, what can we test? What can we test is your IT application controls. But on your general IT controls, again, we cannot test it. Why? What are the items of your general IT controls? Again, these are your different IT changes, operational controls, access controls, yung mga napag-usapan natin kanina, yung mga authorization, authentication, access reviews, programming, job scheduling, etc. So those are your general IT controls. And we don't consider that the auditor is knowledgeable over these general IT controls. Therefore, we make use of an expert. But in making use of an expert, always remember what we need to determine here is whether the expert is competent, capable, and of course, objective. But take note, in using the work of an expert, always remember that you must agree in writing. You must agree in writing regarding the scope, the timing, the extent, the roles and responsibilities. Everything must be written. Now, let's look into the test of your IT controls. So generally, what we test again are your different IT application controls. And whenever we test your IT controls, we have two tests of IT controls. That is external to the computer and internal to the computer. So first, external to the computer. So these procedures involve our inquiries, observation, and inspection of documents. Further, we have your auditing around the computer. Auditing around the computer, also known as your black box approach. So in your black box approach, it is focused on the inputs and the outputs of the IT system. So here, inputs and outputs. So we don't look into the IT itself. Why? Kaya nga siya tinatawag na black box eh. As if you don't look into the IT. So that particular is the black box. Wala yan. So ang titignan mo lang ay inputs and outputs. So around the computer, you look into only outside the computer, that is input and output. You don't look into the computer itself. You consider the computer as a black box. Here, you make use now of course, an expert to test the IT. But generally, what you test only is the input and output. Next, we also have your internal to the computer. So requires the auditor to use the computer to obtain a reasonable degree of assurance that controls are operating as planned. Generally, these are your IT application controls. So in your auditing through the computer, we call it as a white box approach. Why? We have now your input. We have now your output. But we look now into the computer. Kaya nga, through the computer, we do not only look into the input and output, but we also look into the process flow of your computer. So it examines the IT control by entering into the client system. In short, you enter into the computer. Kaya nga, through the computer siya. So this allows the auditor to view and test the logic of the procedures and data calculations performed by it. We call it white box approach or crystal box testing. Bakit ulit ito black box? Kasi hindi mo siya tinetest. As if wala siya. Ang meron lang yung dalawa. Bakit to white box? Kasi meron na siya. Kaya mo siyang tignan. It is clear. You look into the system itself. Kaya siya tinatawag na white box. And why do we need this white box? Of course, to determine the logic of the procedures or the control itself. So we need now to verify the processes. Now, how do we verify the processes? To verify the processes, we use now your CAATs. Dito na pumapasok yung CAATs ninyo. Saka lang magka-CAATs uli pagka may auditing through the computer. Pag around the computer, may CAATs ba? Wala. Walang CAATs. So let's look into the differences. In your around the computer, we don't look as the computer as an audit tool. Why? We only look into outside of it. That is your input and output. How about in your through the computer? We look into your computer itself. So computer now here is considered. Therefore, we look into input, the process, and the output. So input, the process, and the output. Here, input and output. You don't look into the process of the computer. Do we use CAAS in auditing around the computer? No, because we are not testing the logic behind it. Therefore, CAAS is only applicable in your through the computer or white box approach. Therefore, if you are testing the process, you are using CAAS. Take note of that. If you are testing the process of the computer, doon lang tayo gumagamit ng computer-assisted audit techniques. As the expertise, we said around the computer, since you are looking into input and output only, no need for a specific expertise. But if you are now testing the process itself, then you need the work of an expert. So knowledge and skills are needed now here. So possibly you need the work of an expert. So auditing around the computer, not much of an expert. Auditing through the computer, you need an expert. No need to test the process in around. In through the computer, you need to test. Tandaan, black box dito. Bakit black box? Wala kang nakikitang process. Hindi mo tinitignan. Wala kang pakialam. Kung may pakialam ka na sa process, we call it white box. It's clear. You are checking it. So here, you need an expertise. So how do we test the IT controls? We test the IT controls using the following. We have the program analysis, program testing, continuous testing, and review of operating systems. So first, under program analysis, it allows the auditor to obtain or gain an understanding of the client's program. And in your program testing, we now use auditor-controlled actual or simulated data and provides direct evidence about the operation of programs. Therefore, whenever we talk about CAATs, may iba't ibang CAATs. Hindi lang purely test data, hindi lang purely ITF or integrated test facility. Pag tinawag natin siyang CAATs, pwedeng i-analyze mo mismo yung program, i-test mo mismo yung program. You have continuous testing that is embedded on the system itself, or you review the operating system. We start first with program analysis. So in your program analysis, again, we said it allows the auditor to gain an understanding over the client's program. And what are the CAATs here? The CAATs here is first, we have here your code review. So you analyze the logic of the program or the code. So you look into the code, the logic of that code, the process of that code. Next, we have your comparison program. You compare now the computerized files. So you compare the program to your computerized files. Further, to properly understand the program. Again, what do you need to understand here? The program itself. So to understand the program, you can also have flowcharting software. So you look into the flowchart, you document the software flowchart to understand the logic of the program. Next, you look into program tracing and mapping. Here, you list the different technique and the different controls, and you need to map it based on the codes provided. So here you are again testing the program itself, right? And the program is coded. So based on those coded, you map the different technique and control in place in a particular code. So program mapping, therefore, identifies sections of the code that can be executed. Lastly, to test your program analysis or the program itself, we have your snapshot. In your snapshot, it takes a picture of the status of the program execution, intermediate results, or transactions data at specified processing points in the program processing. So these are the different ways to test the program itself. So code review, comparison, flow charting, program tracing, and snapshot. How about if we want to test the program? So program testing. Program testing so involves the use of auditor controlled actual or simulated data. Ito kasi ang normal na alam natin pagka-ATS, ito yung test data, integrated test facility, but no. Whenever we talk about CAATS, it is composed of different categories. You can test the program by looking into the program itself, or test the program as a whole, or continuous testing, or review of OS. Now we are in your program testing. We test whether the program is really working. So here, first, test data. In your test data, we have here different dummy transactions. It's developed by the auditor and processed by the client's computer programs to determine whether the controls that the auditor intends to test are operating effectively. So these dummy transactions will be used as a test data, and you place now that in your client software. So here, we have expected results based on those dummy transactions, right? So auditor has dummy transactions expected result. These dummy transactions will be used as a test data, will be entered into the computer, and now there's an output over the computer. So you test the expected results or outcome with the output of the computer. So that's how the test data works. Next, we have your integrated test facility. So in your integrated test facility, introduces dummy transactions into a system in the midst of live transactions. What's the difference here? So in a test data, purely test data is entered in the computer. In ITF, we have here dummy transactions used as a test data. Together with actual transactions, these two will be entered into your client software. And again, whatever is the expected outcome or results will be compared over the output of the computer system. So sa integrated test facility, may original or actual transactions. Kaya nga may live transactions. But in test data, it is purely test data. Next, base case system evaluation or BCSE. In a base case system evaluation, this is a special type of test data that can provide an auditor with much more assurance than test data alone. What's the difference? Here, the auditor has a test data on the software. Also, the client will have a test data on the software. So that test data by the client is your base case. So you compare the test data made, again, the auditor will have a test data on the computer. Also, on the client, there will be a base case of a test data on the computer. You compare the results made by the auditor test data and the client test data, if ever they are the same. That is your base case system evaluation. Here, both has test data. A while back, only the auditor has a test data. So the test data in test data approach, purely test data, integrated test facility, the test data plus the actual transactions. In a base case simulation, there is a test data on both auditor and the client, and you compare it. Next, we have your parallel simulation. In your parallel simulation, process actual client data through an auditor's generalized audit software program or computer. So the auditor has now an auditor software. So the client data will be entered into your auditor software and there will be results. Now, on your client data, you enter that in the client software and there will be a result. So what is tested here is you compare whatever is the result on the auditor software and the client software, and the results should be the same. That is your parallel simulation. So in a parallel simulation, there is now a auditor software. So based on that auditor software, there's a result. You compare to the result using the client's software. How about in controlled reprocessing? In controlled reprocessing, a variation of parallel simulation in which the auditor uses a copy of the client's application program. So instead of auditor software, which is known as your generalized audit software, here in the auditor, we have a copy of the client software, and then there will be a result. So based on the client itself, client software, there will be a result. So you compare that the result in the copy and the use of your computer software must be the same. That is known as controlled processing. Actually, what we know under IT audit purely is the program testing. But actually, hindi lang naman talaga yon. Kasi ang program testing, isa lang yan as to your test of IT controls. By now, you should learn that there are different ways or categories in testing the controls. A while back, we finished program analysis. Now, we're talking about program testing. So, program testing, ito yung mostly alam nyo. Test data, ITF, BCSE, parallel, at saka controlled processing. So by now, you should know the differences between those different types of testing the program. Next, text of IT control using CAAS continuous testing. So in a continuous testing, what happens? So in advanced computer software, there is a capture of your transactions. And such particular capture of transactions are already uh, embedded in the system itself as the transaction occur. So kaya nga siya tinatawag na continuous testing. So in your continuous testing, what are the categories? We have your so-called embedded audit modules. So these are routines incorporated into an application program that is designed to perform already the audit function. So it is already embedded in the system. As long as there is a transaction, that particular module is already embedded to audit the system itself. We also have your SCARF or System Control Audit Review file. It is usually created by an embedded audit module used to collect subsequent reviews and analysis. If ever embedded audit module, as long as the transaction is happening, there is already an audit. Here, it also looks into subsequent reviews and analysis. Next, we also have transaction tagging. In your transaction tagging, what happens is that there is an identifier per a transaction so that if ever we want to audit a particular transaction, we can easily identify it because it is already tagged a particular item. So it was already tagged with a particular item. So it is easier to audit. Next, we have extended records. It attaches additional data that would not otherwise be saved to regular historic records and thereby helps to provide a more complicated audit trail. Next, we have your audit books. So these are exit point in an application program that allows the auditor to subsequently add an audit module by activating the book to transfer to an audit module. So everything will be now placed in that audit book for our audit trail. So why is this continuous testing? You are not testing really at the end, but there is already an embedded testing per the system. So what are these embedded audit modules, SCARF, transaction tagging, extended records, and audit books? Last type of CAATs, review of operating system. So in your review of operating system, What are the different tests of IT controls? You have your job accounting data or operating system logs. So these logs created by either the operating system or additional software packages to track particular functions. Normally, we call this one as audit logs. Next, we have your library management software. This logs your programs, program modules, job control language, and other processing activities. Next, we have your access control and security software. This software supplements the physical and control measures relating to the computer and is particularly helpful in online environment. Okay, so those are your different CAAs. So let's review. Again, we are talking about your IT environment. And your IT environment is composed of your IT infrastructure, IT process, and IT applications. And this particular IT environment is uh, expected to have different risks. So risks arising from the use of IT. So because of that, we have different controls. So for IT environment, we have your entity level IT controls. For IT processes, we have your general IT controls. And for your IT applications, you have your IT applications control. And these controls are tested. So we test IT controls. So how do we test IT controls? There are two ways. That is either black box approach or white box approach. In your black box approach, we only test inputs and outputs. In your white box approach, we test inputs, process, and outputs. But generally, what we know to test only is your input and output. The process is tested by an expert. And how do we test this input, process, and output? Using your computer assisted computer assisted audit techniques. And this computer assisted audit techniques is composed of different items. And what are those items again? We have your so-called program analysis, program testing, continuous testing, and review of operating systems. So in your program analysis, generally that is done by an expert. For program testing, we do this one. You have your test data, you have your ITF, you have your base case, we have your parallel and controlled reprocessing. While for continuous and concurrent testing, including your review of operating system, again, it is done by expert. But if you're expert really and you know or knowledgeable of auditing this environment, then you can still do that test or test of control as to your review of operating and your continuous or concurrent testing. So that's it for your audit of CIS environment or your auditing in an IT environment.